Hello everyone, I am Mukul, and the topic for today's presentation is Focus on competition has always been the formula for mediocrity. As a takeoff point for this presentation, let me quote you something from what is considered the Bible of avoiding competition, a book that has garnered rich acclaim from both the industry and academia. Talking about Blue Ocean Strategy, and the quote goes as follows. Value innovation is the cornerstone of Blue Ocean strategy. We call it value innovation because instead of focusing on beating the competition, you focus on making the competition irrelevant by creating a leap in value for your buyers and your company, thereby opening up new and uncontested market space. The book then goes on to enumerate endless examples of areas where companies created tremendous value for customers and itself by avoiding competition altogether and creating new market spaces. But let's not get carried away by this idea because there's a lot in terms of value that can be provided by the competition. Number one, there's the landscape. Businesses operate in a specific landscape, and your competition is a rich source of information in terms of what the landscape has to offer in the future. There's also the idea of sentiment. The idea that sentiment is very customer centric idea is an outdated one. Sentiments can be related to the industry, the regulators, the other stakeholders that the business operates in, and all of it defines how your business would perform going into the future. Then there's the demand. The demand is a very customer centric concept in which you understand how much to produce and what to produce. Your competition gives you a great understanding of how much of your products would sell in the market and how much of the products in general would sell in the market in the industry in a particular time frame. One of the ideas that is highly underrated and highly understated is the potential for cooperation. Your competitor is also your ally in the industry. When the industry goes through a downturn or is going through a tough time in a regulatory fashion, you the entire competition stands together to face the regulators at the negotiation table, and this provides a lot of industries provide gain a great deal of support from the competitors coming as allies in terms of difficulties in negotiations with the regulatory bodies. And most importantly, your competition keeps you nimble. It keeps you on your toes at all times. As the quote by the American author Nancy Pearcey goes, competition is always a good thing. It forces us to do our best. A monopoly renders people complacent and satisfied with mediocrity. It's very much along the lines of what the topic for this presentation has been, but in a different way. There's a framework that I've created which defines two specific routes that a business might take when focusing on competition. The first route is where a business focuses on its competition, gets obsessed with the competition, and replicates the business model in its own fashion. The other route is where the business focuses on the competition, understands the business of the competition, and tries to innovate in areas where the competition has failed to serve the customers well. On the face of it, it might appear that the second route is a more preferred one. However, the first route has its own advantages. There's the power of replication. Let's talk about the growth story of India and China, two massive economies today which were plagued with poverty and impoverishment not so long ago. The massive economic growth that these two countries saw was a result of replication of the ideas of the West at a cheaper cost. Not only could they improve the overall quality of life, these two countries pulled out over a billion people from poverty and improved the customer experience in the process. As you can see, both the countries saw massive economic growth as visible in the chart. However, there's a problem with the power of replication. It tends to eventually stagnate. There's a little snippet from a newspaper called China Daily with the headline which says innovation set to underpin China's future development, because China has reaped all the benefits of replication that it could through its manufacturing economy. And for the next phase of their future development, they are focusing on innovation, which India would also have to eventually do. The power of innovation. The power of innovation is one that is a gift that keeps on giving. Let's talk about the five most innovative companies as listed by BCG in 2019. They are in order of their rankings: Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Samsung. The combined market capitalization of just these five companies is 1.5 times the size of India's economy. And that, my dear friends, is the power of innovation. It creates a positive feedback where more innovation leads to even further innovation and creates and leads to further wealth creation and value creation in the process. But this concept is not just limited to companies, it extends to entire countries. Here's the list of the top 10 most innovative countries in the world as listed by Bloomberg for the year 2019. You have South Korea, Germany, Finland, Switzerland, Israel, Singapore, Sweden, US, Japan, and France in that order of rankings. And next to them is the per capita income of the country in US dollars. Most of these countries are extremely high income countries. And not only are they extremely high income countries, they also have some of the highest HDI numbers in the world. That is a and that same concept of the positive feedback of innovation not just applies to companies but also countries. The quality of life, the education, the infrastructure, everything improves as innovation improves, and it's a circle that eventually creates more value and wealth for all the citizens of the country. So I would like to conclude my presentation by saying that it's not that that focus on competition leads to mediocrity, is that focus on competition can lead you to different directions. It just depends on how you look at competition, and do you obsess with it or do you understand it and innovate it for a sustainable future. It's, I would like to end this presentation with a small quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt, not exactly in line with the presentation, but since we are talking about competition, I thought this might be a great way to end the presentation. It says, competition has been shown to be useful to a certain point and no further. But cooperation, which is the thing we must strive for today, begins where competition leaves off. Thank you.